Hello listeners, and welcome to our second episode of this week. And this is actually about our 35th episode of Mumblecast. If you haven't listened to our previous episode on the Leap by Loofs, please go back and listen to that. It's a pretty good episode, really interesting topic. And the one before that was rhinos, but you can listen to that if you want. Last one was only a 20-minute episode. This one hopefully is going to be about the same, so a very short one, so you can listen to the car on the ride to work. Today, we are going to talk about a certain thing that happened earlier this week. Oh, April 1st.
Yeah.
Which is known as...
April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day. I wonder why we're talking about that. Go listen. Yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit April Fool's Day. It's history, some of the best ones maybe in history, because there's been some cracking ones, and take it from there. So in that case...
Let's get ready to mumble!
Alright. Kayla, take it away. Tell me a little bit about the history of April Fools.
All right, so April Fool's is celebrated on the first day of April every year. It just happens to fall on Sunday this year. It's an annual celebration in some European and Western countries that's commemorated by playing practical jokes, spreading hoaxes, just messing with people. Uh-huh. And then the jokes and the victims are called like April Fools. So I didn't know there was, like, history behind it. I mean, I assumed there was some history behind it, but I didn't know it was, like, significant history.
It's weird. It's nothing I've ever thought about.
No.
Like, I've never... Oh, where did April Fools come from?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. I should have, but I just never have. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, apparently it dates back all the way to 1392.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, so Geoffrey Chaucer wrote the Canterbury Tales. And in the Canterbury Tales, there's the Nun's Priest Tale. And in it, they mention... I don't remember how they say it, but it's like... The way they describe, like, that day is... It would be April 1st.
Pause for a second. Did you say 1932 or 1392?
1392.
Okay, yeah, okay. Karen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking... Wait, that's not as long as I thought.
No, a really long time ago. Yeah, okay. So it's described as April 1st in the tale, and... it just describes it of like them like playing jokes on people. So that's the first one, and then it's described again in 1508 by a French poet. He refers to it as Poisson d'Avril or April Fools, which also translates to Fish of April. In 1539, a Flemish poet wrote about how like this nobleman would send his servants on foolish errands on April 1st. In 1686. A British author, I guess, referred to the holiday as Fool's Holy Day. So there's been multiple accounts of it all the way up until now.
Well, the only one that I was somewhat aware of was the French fishy one, where like because they changed from the Julian calendar to Gregorian calendar, and so January became the first of the year, but people thought that was the 1st of April, and then the people that were celebrating made fun of because they got it wrong. Okay. And then they put the fish on their backs because they were easily fooled or gullible or something, because it meant young fish or something. That's the only thing I know about that. I didn't know about those. Okay. Yeah. It's because it was mentioned in the 1300s. Was that the official start, or is that just a theoretical start? They don't actually know.
I think that's just a theoretical start. Like, it just is good luck that it fell, or not good luck, but just like coincidence that it fell on that day, and then people just kept kind of running with it. I don't really know like why.
Yeah, because it's very close to the summer, like the spring solstice, or whatever it's like the start of spring. So it may have something to do with that, I guess. So when did it become like a modern like thing? Because I'm assuming it had these small parts, and then suddenly, I think it's been moving since the 1700s. Yeah,
and then I mean, there's a lot of like different like media and news outlet took it a step further, starting in like the I think dating back as early as like the 1930s, 1950s, different.
You know what? I bet it's as soon as media takes over and like the world becomes smaller and smaller, people become more aware of it, and it's easier to fool people because the world's getting smaller, but they still don't know much. You know, like nowadays, I almost never fall for April Fools because everyone knows so much and they're all spoiled. But back then, it must be so easy to fool someone, like on a big scale. Like on a small scale, like tripping someone up or putting a kick me sign on them. I'm sure that's pretty easy. Yeah. So that'd be quite funny. Stuff should be done more on April Fools, because I'm sure you could get away with that a lot easier than some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, the media ones, they had, I bet in like the 1900s that you're talking about, they had some power, like to really mess with a nation.
Yeah, and then so a bunch of different countries have different traditions with it. So that, like in Ireland, it said the tradition was you somebody decides on the victim and you entrust them with this letter. And you say, like, this letter needs to go to somebody, can you take, to so-and-so, can you take it? So they take the letter to that person, the person opens it, and then is like, oh, can you take this letter to so-and-so? And, like, it just keeps going, and then once the letter's opened, it says, it reads, send the fool further. So it's just about, like, how long people keep it going to send this poor victim on this mission.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
It's a great one, actually.
So that's the Irish one. And in Poland, it's so, like, well known that all serious activities are avoided. So to the point where the anti-Turkish alliance with Leopold I was signed on April 1st, but it was actually backdated to March 31st so that it like actually withheld or whatever.
Yeah, no one will think it was a show. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
That was 1800s. You said it was back to.
It just said whenever. I don't know when that alliance was signed.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Did you say of Napoleon though? Napoleon.
Leopold.
I don't know. Oh, Leopold. Okay, I don't know what that is.
And then in a lot of countries, they still do the April fish thing, where they like put the fish on the victim's back and like how long can it stay on there for?
So what are the popular like April Fools are you aware of? Like big ones in time.
Well,
are there many?
No, I didn't really know of any until I started researching. But BBC does a lot, and they are really funny.
Yeah. I remember back in like the 50s and 60s, I know they did a couple which were really good ones. Yeah. Do you have notes of them?
Yeah. Do you know any of them?
Well, I know of the spaghetti tree.
Yes.
And I can't remember, that was the main one. They did one which people often mistake, I think, for being an April Fool's, but it wasn't. So, do you know The World of the Worlds? Mm-hmm. You know about that book? So, this is the BBC, and I often mistake this, maybe it's just me, it mistakes from April Fool's, but they did a reading of that on the BBC at one point, and people thought it was real because you know how the book reads, it's like a newscast. So he was reading it out as it became like a newscast, and people thought it was real, that the world was actually being.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
I don't know if that was the April Fool's, but that was definitely something that people panicked about because the BBC. I don't know, it was funny. But yeah, the spaghetti tree. Tell us about that.
That's probably my favorite. So it was 1957. They like created this segment explaining how the spaghetti weevil had been eradicated and the Swiss were now harvesting spaghetti trees. And they had pictures and like everything to back this up. And people called in wanting to know how to like cultivate and harvest their own.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, as in, I know people are gullible and you would not get away with that nowadays. Or maybe you would. Apparently, like, yeah, spaghetti. I remember seeing pictures, black and white pictures of this, and it doesn't look that bad. You know, it almost looks like a willow tree, but with spaghetti. But yeah, that's funny how that got people.
Yeah.
I wish I had spoken to my granny about that. She would have remembered that for sure.
It's hilarious.
I never did though. Yeah.
And then they just kept going with them, like every year, and that's what I don't understand. Like every year, well, not every year, but a lot of years, they would do one of these. And people would fall. They still fall for them.
Well, people are silly. So apparently, someone told me yesterday that, like travel websites, people are looking for Wakanda.
Oh my god!
People are searching, trying to go to Wakanda, and I'm like, that must be a joke. There's no way people are searching to go to Wakanda. Surely,
that's hilarious.
You know?
Yeah.
Like maybe there's a very small chance they think, oh, it's a real place. Obviously not as high tech, but it could be a real place. And why not? I guess. You know?
Yeah.
But that's stupid.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, so people are gullible. People will fall for that stuff. And depending how much authority you tell them it with or how much confidence you might believe in these things, you know?
Yeah. So another one was, in 1965, they did Smell-O-Vision. BBC, again.
Oh, wow.
And so they came on, they broadcasted, and they explained that they were conducting an experiment with smell-o-vision, and they were transmitting odors across the airwaves, and they had a lot of people calling in telling them that it worked, that like they were smelling things through their TV.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. These are
so not even
great.
all the people believe it. People, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. What was another one? Oh, 1976. They got an astronomer, Patrick Moore. I think this was still BBC. So anyway, he came on and he explained that at 9:47 that day, that Pluto would be passing behind Jupiter, and because of the planetary alignment, there'd be a temporary, lessening of gravity on Earth. But you had to jump at exactly 9:47 a.m. to experience this. And they said they had hundreds of phone calls from listeners saying they experienced it, to the point where one woman called and said that her entire office, like her and her chair and her coworkers, everything was just floating around the office.
Sis, why do people bend it? What was her expectation? What was she wanting to prove? I don't know. She's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you lying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so good. Imagine how hilarious it would have been to be in that office to have this woman call in, and explain that. God, that's so funny.
Yeah. What are some more? 1990, BBC announced that Big Ben would go digital and that they were going to auction off the hands of the clock, and people got really mad.
Okay. Yeah.
2008, they came out with I guess the same thing as like the spaghetti tree type thing, but they said that they found flying penguins, that the Adelaide penguins were flying to South America to spend the winter basking in the tropical sun.
Huh. I'm surprised I don't remember that one, but I don't deny it did happen, yeah.
And then, there's some other ones too that don't include them. Like, in 1996, Taco Bell put out a full page ad in 6 major newspapers saying that they were buying the Liberty Bell and renaming it the Taco Liberty Bell.
That would have been so funny.
And people got...
there would have been people outraged.
Yeah, people got so angry. But, so it said that the White House press secretary at the time, got questioned about it or whatever, and he, thought quick on his feet and said that, yeah, he it's true, and that the Lincoln Memorial had also been sold and would be renamed the Ford Lincoln Mercury Memorial.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, man.
What are some other ones? Oh, 1998, Burger King introduced a left-handed Whopper. They said it was a new Whopper designed for left-handed people, and the condiments were all rotated 180 degrees.
Oh, man, that's so good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been properly fooled by one of the... I'm sure, maybe Google did one, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I might have been, clicked on something to figure it out, but I don't know how stupid... But you wouldn't feel stupid, you'd just have to laugh, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was so funny. I know... yeah, I don't know. It's good. It's so funny.
So they do have to... Go ahead.
No, go.
They do have to be careful with them because they've done a few that have caused panic. And...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so... And, some of these... You gotta be smart with them. I feel like BBC does a good amount of, I'm gonna mess with you, but just to the point where it doesn't, cause harm. But in 1989, this, news company announced that the Space Needle collapsed. In 1949, New Zealand said there was going to be this huge wasp storm, and people started evacuating. 1974, there was a news company that said there was an eruption of Mount Edgecumbe in Alaska. And then in 1980, that there was an eruption of Great Blue Hill in Milton, Massachusetts. And, all of these led to, people fleeing the place that they lived because they thought they were going to die. So... They have to be careful with them.
It's say if you told Houstonians, or if you just put it out there that, oh, your Hurricane Harvey 2 is coming, next week, people would leave.
Yeah,
they would, because they're aware of how bad it can be.
Yeah,
that's funny. And if you get the one you said about the planetary alignment, the gentleman that you said that they got on, I can't remember what you said his name was. He is a really well respected astronomer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if astronomer is the right word. So if they got him on, they would have believed him 100%.
Yeah.
I would have believed him.
Yeah.
Because he is who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. I know I've researched and looked up a few more very similar ones, but they're all the same type of thing. Sid Finch, some baseball prodigy that was going to be throwing pitch balls at 160 miles an hour, and suddenly he was gonna be like the next big thing in baseball, and he had all these baseball teams try to find him and poach him and, you know, draft him, whatever. So that's Sid Finch. Yeah. And there was a do your own colour TV in like Sweden or something, where they had TVs and you had to put your tights over them, and if you shake it or something or move them up and down, it would transfer the black and white to colour TV, which was quite funny as well. I would love to have had people putting their tights over the TV.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like,
and that was back in the 60s, so people would believe that, you know, because they don't know what makes colour TV. Have you ever been victim to a good April Fool's?
Not that I can remember. Nothing out of the ordinary. That's not just like a stupid 5-minute one. But
yeah, I'm trying to. What's the rule? Because I always hear that the rule has to be done before midday. I don't know where that rule's come from. It seems to me it sounds like it's just grown ups being like, stop being silly. You have until midday and then you have to stop. You know. I don't think there's actually.
I had never heard that rule until I did some research on April Fools, but a lot of places do say that. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. Again, I think it's probably just to get people to not be foolish for the whole day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I guess like the last thing is sometimes then this is pretty sad. Some real news is accidentally mistaken as a hoax. And I guess this also goes into the whole like if they're doing some hoaxes on eruption of these mountains and they're being fake, then like something bad could actually happen, and then people are like, oh well, last year they told me that this mountain was erupting, so I'm not believing them this year. So in 1946 there were warnings about an earthquake tsunami that people didn't take seriously, and then in 2005 there was news that this comedian had died on March 29th that nobody took seriously. So just like I feel like there's a responsibility with the newscast to like make it funny and make it like BBC does. Like I said, they do a really good job of like really messing with people, but they do it responsibly. And then these other news places were like, "Oh, we're gonna do it too," and then they just don't.
Fail. Yeah. I wonder what ones will be this year. At the moment, guys, we're doing this actually just before April 1st, so we're going to miss out on it. So let us know if you fell victim to anyone this year, or in the last previous years you can remember, or if you pulled any on anyone. And make it good ones, don't just say you tripped someone up, that's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I've fell victim to a while. I think there will definitely be one from Yahoo, definitely will be one from Google, and something like that, because they always do them. And I think at one point they did one that you type something into Google and then like anything into Google and the page went weird or something, I don't know. It'd be something like that. Yeah, it always is. And there'll be one from like someone saying, "Oh, Elon Musk made it to Mars" or something stupid, or because people don't understand Elon Musk.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds good. Alright, anything else to add?
No, I think that's all.
Alright, listeners, well, if you listen to our previous episodes, April Fools, but if not, I've been Liam.
I'm Kayla.
And this has been Mumblecast.
Bye.
Bye.